This is Replicant Fish. Welcome back. Glad you could join me again. So apologies to some of you yesterday, where I was only shouting out the truckers, those in the medical field, and YouTube technicians that keep YouTube running. So apologize to everyone else that I missed yesterday in saying thank you to those running services to keep our lives going in this lockdown. So again, thank you to everyone that I missed. There are far too many professions, but shout out your own profession if you want to. Or just whatever you're doing today in this lockdown, or whatever game you're playing in this lockdown. They've delayed The Last of Us 2, which is not good. Hopefully to God they don't delay Cyberpunk 2077, because that's the crap I'm waiting for. Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. CD Projekt Red, if you want to send me a free code, feel free to, but I'm going to buy it anyway, but feel free to send me a free code. Yeah. But let's carry on, enough waffling. From The Guardian, biohazard crisis may deny 9.5 million women access to family planning. From The Guardian, written by Liz Ford, charity warns loss of services caused by lockdowns could result in millions of unwanted pregnancies and unsafe abortions. Well, that's not good for women, is it? Up to 9.5 million women and girls could miss out on vital family planning services this year because of the biohazard, potentially resulting in thousands of deaths. Marie Stopes International warned on Friday that travel restrictions and lockdowns could have a devastating effect on women as they struggle to collect contraceptives and access other reproductive healthcare services, such as safe abortions, across the 37 countries which it works. MSI estimates that with an 80% reduction in service delivery for 3 months and minimal services for the remainder of the year, 9.5 million people will miss out. If things were to return to normal after 3 months of disruption, the figure would drop to 4 million. The organization predicts that the loss of services could result in as many as 3 million additional unintended pregnancies, 2.7 million unsafe abortions, and 11,000 pregnancy-related deaths. Last year, 32 million women used contraceptives provided by MSI, which is now calling on governments around the world to include reproductive health care on its list of essential services. Marie Stopes UK said it was open for business as usual, and the article goes on, but I will leave it there to make my points. You see, as I've spoken before about how this biohazard will affect women heavily, this is one of the main reasons why it will affect them. And understand certain patterns of things. As I've said before, women get desperate in a crisis, and women use many things to self-medicate, obviously sex being one of them. But beyond the crisis factor, even if there were no crisis, obviously many women would get pregnant unintentionally and seek abortions. But my point to this is, it seems as if women are allowed to be reckless with their bodies, and it's everyone else's fault except for women themselves. As in, why do they not say instead, try to keep your legs closed? You see, if it were men, and we know and can see as men, we do not get that sense of leeway. No, as men, everything is our fault. But yet, women can't seem to control their own bodies, of which they demanded to be so free. Yet, in the freeing of their bodies, it's just become more reckless. A Mr. M. Parker sent this to me the other day via email. Now, this is about the biohazard, and it shows you the number of deaths from January the 1st to the 25th of March 2020, this year. So in the span of 3 months, at the top, the flu, malaria, suicides, so we can see all of that. Traffic deaths, HIV, alcohol-related, smoking, cancer, starvation. At the bottom, what do we have? 9,900,000 abortions in the first 3 months of this year. Now that's worldwide. And in a world of billions of people, one could say, well, it's in a sense a small number. And that's my point as well. How many people cover this up and act as if it's okay? When I do have to question 9 million. Let's just call it 10 million. 10 million abortions in the first 3 months of this year alone. Now as a male, as this supposed misogynistic monster, I think that's disgusting. You know, being a man, I'm supposed to be the less humane one. Yeah, whatever. But this is something I've wondered myself for a long time, because I could not live with myself knowing I had done that if things were different and men, could have children, all that crap. But I could not live with myself knowing I had done that. But then when you see how hard they fight to make sure that this continually runs. It brings many questions up. It makes you wonder so many things. It then makes you question, okay then, so if this shows how reckless women are willing to be with their bodies, why on earth should I even want to be with her, let alone to maybe one day conceive a child with her? I wonder how many men wonder, the woman they're with, or got with, or has ever been with in their life, I wonder if those men have wondered how many, if any, abortions this woman has had. Some men refer to these women as women with ghosts in their vag, or duppies in their vag, if you will. Spectres, whatever. Ghosts, basically. Ghost babies. And in showing you the correlation with things like the rise of OnlyFans, the amount of abortions that happen a year, 32 million, and the amount that has happened in the first 3 months of this year, 10 million. As a man, you have to then question, what am I in this for? At what level should I be pursuing any of these women with such desire, knowing and seeing what they're willing to do so easily, and act as if it's okay and anyone that has a problem with it, it's their problem? Now, to make a separation, the women that go through something horrific and thus they have to get this operation done, that's different. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm speaking of women who are just reckless. Girls just want to have fun, don't they? Yes, they do. Women do not like being bored, as I said yesterday. You know, as men, in this world, in 2020, we're still the ones that can be blamed for getting a woman pregnant, and then her carrying the baby to term and birthing the child. That is still somehow a man's fault when, of course, yes, the man bust the nut, but the person that chose to carry it to term was the woman the entire way. And now some would say, oh, then they both should have used protection. That way what you're saying would not occur, and all these abortions would not be needed. But my point is, why don't more women think themselves about protecting their bodies? It's a sense of, why is it that we can say women are strong, independent creatures over here, but then act as if they're children here? That doesn't make sense to me. From my point of view, it should go across the board. Yes, as human beings, we know sex is good. Yes, in the moment, one is not thinking of contraceptives. But women can go and get a pill. And my point is as well, why are there so much more contraceptives for women in comparison to men? Why do we have so few? Yet we have blue pills that enable us to go on for longer? Isn't that strange? Why is that? Men are given drugs to be able to perform, but not to protect what comes out of that performance. And this is my point of view as well. Wouldn't it be better if men had more power to not make the mistake of getting women pregnant? Like how women have the pill, why aren't there more things for men? The obvious reason for this is because then men would have too much power. You see, understand this, the government relies on you as men to make mistakes and get women pregnant. Because if we didn't, you'd have to understand how many women would not get pregnant. Because how many men have gotten women pregnant and regretted it? Because now it's the man that has to end up paying for the child. It's never in the woman's hands to pay for the child in terms of child support's mainly aimed at men, not women. So the point is, once you understand that it's set up in the way for you as a man to be able to mess up, for them to have the power to do whatever they want, then you can see it from another point of view. Then as a man you understand and know, my God, I should protect my seed. Because whether I want a child or not, once the seed is spent in the woman, she now has all the power. The power to get rid of the child, or to keep it and make your life hell. Either way, as a man, the power is no longer in your hands. So a sort of two-pronged video. The angle to protect yourself as a man, but also to point out the fact of how much women will fight for this, even when the world is in crisis. And you'd have to think, well, the world is in crisis, why is this such an important service? This service is a result of people that can't control themselves sexually, yet it's in such demand. Because though we as men are seen as the perverts, it's strange how women seem to be the ones that can't control themselves to a certain degree. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Protect yourself as a man. Don't be fooled by the public nonsense that they try to sell and push. Let OnlyFans be an example. Let the fact that women that can't have abortions be an example as well. Look at both sides of this and see how it matches up. In other words, as a man, learn to strap up, protect yourself, or just keep to yourself. Sometimes it's better to not get any than to spend the next 18, possibly more years of your life paying for that one moment. In other words, stay sharp, focus, observe. Remember, the world is yours. Have a nice day.